Good afternoon and good evening, everybody. My name is Murtaza Sheikh Ali. I represent Cedar Management Consulting International. We are a boutique strategy consulting and fintech consulting company, which does significant work across the Middle East and Africa region. We have offices in Mumbai, in Dubai, London, and New York, and we primarily work the Africa market through our Middle East office, which is based in Dubai. So today I've got an interesting topic, which is on the future of retail banking, and talks about what I would like to talk about some of the trends that are emerging, especially in the retail and consumer banking space related to Africa. And I'll just start by sharing my screen. I hope you can all see my screen. So I'll just start briefly by talking about some of the overview in banking overview, especially in Africa. So as far as Africa is concerned, obviously there has been a very high adoption of mobile and mobile wallets and usage of mobiles, especially in terms of wallets, in terms of payments and transfers. The digital channel use has increased, especially over the past year and a half, 2 years, perpetuated mobile, the COVID pandemic, but that has really driven the digital channel usage. Customers have become more and more conscious of spending consciously. There's been a shift towards virtual economy. So not only has mobile channel increased, even the net channel, the tablets, wearables has all moved onto the omni-channel network, as we call it. However, these obviously has increased the cases of online frauds, whether it be in purchases, whether it be in banking, whether it be in retail. Contactless payments are now increasing. There is huge expectation of shrinkage, especially of branch spaces in consumer banking. Branches are likely to get smaller. Some of the branches are likely to close down, especially the expensive ones. And obviously there's going to be increased usage of the automated machines, teller machines, and the POS channels across the network. Basically, a lot of banks have been reporting increase in digital usage significantly over the year between 2020 and 2021. If you look at the key focus areas for as far as banks are concerned and as far as the customers are concerned across the region, the banks, what are they looking at primarily? So they are looking now going forward is to optimize cost. Each bank is now focusing on leveraging technology, leveraging the digital channel in order to reduce and optimize their operational cost. By using digital channels and digital processes, a lot of banks are managing to reduce operational cost at the back end through straight-through processing, thereby gaining cost efficiencies. The other is to reduce expensive branches, expensive real estate spaces, and migrate customers onto digital channels so that they can manage expenses, increase margins, and improve customer experience. Digital and mobile channels obviously are being developed. Improved customer experience is the reality from what we had a couple of years back to now. There has been a lot of innovative solutions that have come in, improved customer experience that has been put into place. And at an overall level, there has been better inclusion, especially amongst the underbanked and the unbanked African population. More people have got access through digital and mobile channels to banking facilities, banking products and services, which is good for the overall banking industry, improves coverage, brings more inclusion to the overall market, covers additional population, and obviously in the long run helps generate revenues and through a larger base. In terms of customers, the focused area obviously is in terms of personalized products and services that the banks offer. Banks are getting more and more personalized in terms of what best fits the customer, whether it is flexible loans, whether it is installment plans for buying white goods, for on the spot installment plans when you're swiping your credit card and get an option to defer payments over 6 to 12 months. So there are a lot of products being put into place to provide convenience to customers. The ease of access has increased dramatically. Digital and electronic channels are seamlessly working now 24/7 with real-time. So it's become easier to use these channels, even for people who are not very accustomed to using these. And obviously, saving of cost, a lot of these costs have been passed back to the customers in terms of lower fees. Even the cost of switching banks is now not that high. It's possible to have multiple accounts, open accounts easily, especially accounts with low balance requirements, low fees and charges, etc. In terms of the COVID impact, and I can't really escape this, what has that done to the banking model? So COVID has caused cutting down of the workforce and shrinking of the branch space, as I mentioned earlier. It put into place a hybrid working model where only a limited staff actually comes to office. A lot of the back office work actually gets done on a work from home model. And a lot of banks are actually looking to put in place part of this model on a permanent basis because it's leading to higher cost efficiencies, especially at the back end. Also, banks are in many ways maintaining higher liquidity because the COVID situation unfortunately has, especially in the retail, consumer and the SME space, resulted in job losses, resulted in decrease of small and medium establishment businesses, hence resulted in short-term losses, either due to non-repayment of loans or deferral of loans, and they've had to maintain higher liquidity to counter these losses. There has obviously been an expected increase in the number of non-performing assets over the COVID period. And there has been significant support from a lot of governments in order to sustain small commercial businesses, individual loans, so on and so forth. Obviously, even while taking all of this into account, over the period of the last 2 or 3 years, there has been significant investments from all banks, large, medium, and small, and neo banks. There has been significant investments into the digital channels and digital initiatives. They've been given priority over a lot of other initiatives being implemented to acquire digital solution, work with third-party service providers, and ensure that the time to market is reduced and you're able to provide and meet customer demand, especially through the pandemic period. And that has resulted in improved usage of third-party providers. So just looking at the banking landscape and key countries, the larger countries, especially in terms of GDP, Nigeria is obviously the largest country in Africa as far as the population is concerned and the GDP. And there are many countries with significant amounts of population widely spread. The financial inclusion and the rise of mobile and digital channels has really helped most of these populations that has been spread. Even if you look at most of the top countries in Africa, there are a large number of banks in each country. However, almost 90% of the banking is basically concentrated in the top 5, 7, or 10 banks in each country, and they are the large banks with a plethora of medium, small-sized banks. So if you look at some of the key initiatives being pushed across Africa in some of the key countries, if you look at Nigeria, the central bank has been granting licenses towards payment banks to open up the financial service sector, especially on the digital end. South Africa is focusing on SME banking. There has been a lot of support towards small medium establishment. The Digital Ethiopia 2025 initiative has been launched, where there is a transformation plan to embrace digital technology driven by the government and the central bank. In Egypt, the financial FRA, Financial Regulatory Authority, has been pushing for microfinancing platform programs, the nano finance, primarily to support a larger population base, the small medium establishments, and to integrate obviously the formal sector with the informal SME economy. Kenya has been providing strong push for adoption of digital channels and ensuring that despite the COVID-19 pandemic, the penetration of channels and service provided to consumers is not affected. And last but not least, I wanted to point out Rwanda has introduced free bank and wallet transactions, reduced merchant fees, and they've seen sharp rise in digital and mobile banking spending. So there has been a significant push across the continent towards digital, towards electronic, towards ensuring that a larger population base is covered and has access to banking channels. Looking at, and just to give you an overview from a fintech perspective, looking at some of the vendors that have entered or sold their systems in the private banking space. Over 2020 and 2021, over 100 banks have implemented private banking systems to look at the wealthier HNI population. And some of the key banks who have looked at changing or upgrading their systems have included the Warwick Bank, the Afro-Asia Bank, the Bank One, Bank of SBM, Prime Bank, and some of the key vendors, and a lot of these have been in the market for a long time, have been Ebix, have been Infosys, Intellect Design Arena, Capital Banking Solutions, ERI Bancair, whose systems have been prevalent across the African continent. It was one area which saw a huge jump in the number of systems being implemented, especially in 2019, 2020. And digital was the key focus of ensuring omni-channel platforms get implemented so that they could speed up time to market and services. And primarily, it would have touched most banks. Some of the key vendors and key platforms being implemented in Africa included platforms from Motfin, from Oracle, from Temenos, Backbase, iExceed, CR2, and Software Group. And if you look at the payment systems being implemented, a lot got implemented across 2019 and 2020, especially systems from Oracle, again Infosys, Temenos, Volante, HPS, Capital Banking Solutions, ACI. A lot of banks in the pandemic time have seen this as a chance to actually upgrade their technology, take a break, ensure while the overall economy is recovering, they've looked internally and looked to upgrade and make their systems and backend more efficient so that when they come out of the pandemic, they are in a better space and in better position to take advantage of the opening up of the economy. So in terms of implications and key takeaways, just wanted to spend a few minutes on that. Africa is actually positioned well. They have witnessed a surge in investments in digital banking. They've witnessed banks ensuring that they improve their systems, they improve the customer experience, improve inclusion, across many countries, and that's why it's better positioned to actually take advantage coming out of the pandemic. The SME landscape is large. It contributes to 40 to 50% of most countries' GDP. And leveraging new technologies to reach new customers is what the banks are going after. As I mentioned, top 10 banks in most countries comprise 90% of the market. Microfinance institutions are now becoming more and more significant, as 70% of the population is rural in nature. And in terms of the population growth in the young segment between 25 and 54, Nigeria and Egypt have actually recorded the highest growth in that segment, which is the population which is going to be the most digitally enabled population. And there is focus from governments on improving revenue, ending the economic recession, and coming out of the pandemic quicker than most. So where are the opportunities that lie in Africa? There are ample opportunities for digital transformation, core banking transformation, CRM space. If I look at the core banking bucket, the digital transformation and changing regulations actually impacting core banking business in a large way. Improved front ends and improved digital platforms that are getting implemented is requiring obviously a shift in core banking systems that are being put in place. The way core banking is getting implemented now through an agile model is also ensuring that you're basically making it to market faster than times when when core banking transformations used to take 2 to 3 years to implement. Digital banking solutions has seen the highest number of implementations and transformations across most banks. Banks have been working with specialized third-party solutions for digitization, and basically the shrinkage of branch space, improved efficiency, and reduction of costs is driving the number of digital-only banks that are actually opening up through many countries across Africa. And in terms of CRM, basically improved CRM software solutions are being put in place where they are utilizing artificial intelligence, machine learning, improved use of data, so that better solutions and service can be provided to consumers across segments. And the good part is across most of these platforms, you're now having cloud-based solutions available, especially in the CRM region, to make it more affordable for most financial institutions to offer these products and services. So in a nutshell, just to summarize, I wanted to put in some of the future trends that most are likely to see coming up in across the next few years. One is the whole BaaS model, which is banking as a service model. There are many fintechs now who are now offering the entire stack, which basically benefits new banks or banks being set up, or neobanks, where they can go in for the entire banking as a service model, the entire stack, which in most cases is cloud-based, which converts a lot of the capex initial expenditure into opex and provides a lower cost operating model for many banks. The next is the rise of the non-traditional neobanks, where you find there'll be only digital-only banks which don't use any brick and mortar branches, but provide superior technology, provide superior experience through digital channels, improved security, improved customer experience across all their omni-channel network. So you will see a lot of these banks come into play. A lot of these banks have already seen good success across Europe, across the Far East Asia and US markets. Due to the use of digital channels and internet, obviously there is a lot of focus towards cybersecurity. There is focus on fraud prevention, on data security. So these are the areas which are now coming to limelight: compliance, fraud prevention, data security, info security, and so on and so forth. Customers are now getting to the omni-channel experience. So it's not just the mobile banking, but also internet, also your tablets, your wearables. So digital banking is now being offered across the omni-channel platform. So it does not matter whether you're using a phone or a tablet or a computer. You do have similar experiences, customer experiences across all. There is a surge of demand in value-added services, so that the customer loyalty and customer stickiness is maintained, helps in customer retention. There is obviously a lot of effort being put in, especially by traditional banks, to move customers on from traditional channels onto the digital and electronic channels, mobile channels. More transactions happening on digital channels means more efficiency for the banks, more straight-through processing, improved costs, improved efficiency. So that banks, especially retail banks, are taking a lot of customer education exercises, supporting them through their migration from coming into the branches to using electronic channels. A lot of cognitive technology has come in for credit risk management, access to credit bureaus, processing of information using artificial intelligence to make smarter decisions, especially credit decisions, to be able to revert back to the customer and provide solutions to the customer at a faster pace. Obviously, there has been higher investments from all FIs and banks to support their fintech growth. It's been a core area. There has been focused investments, not only in Africa, but also across most regions towards ensuring investments in fintech. As I said, there has been a huge drive towards financial inclusion, towards providing services through electronic channels to a larger population base, to unbanked and underbanked customers, and improving the overall customer experience through usage of digital channels. And as we see, especially in Africa, many countries across Asia, the payments, the cross-border payments technology has come into play. That's offering instantaneous cross-border payments, transactions across a mobile phone, and that has really seen growth, especially in Africa. So that was a quick presentation that I wanted to share. So thank you, everybody. Have a good evening. Thank you for being there and hearing me out on this interesting topic. All the best. Take care.